Hello, everyone. My name is Ned Dennison. I'm the chairperson of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. We like to talk to some of our honor organizations through their committee members from time to time. So today we have the president of the Serpentine Swimming Club in London, Laure Latham. Laure, say hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. Well, I was born and I grew up in New Caledonia in the South Pacific, which is an island between Australia and Tahiti. So it's quite a remote and very tropical place. I spent all my childhood running barefoot through coconut trees, going on adventures with my two brothers in the local mangrove, and snorkeling around reef islands. That's what I did. When I was 11, I moved to France where I discovered cold climates, wearing shoes all day, which wasn't fun, and big cities. I was really glad when we moved again to Thailand in my teens, where I reconnected with tropical climates. I'm really an island girl. I like, hot climates. I then moved to San Francisco after I got married, and that's where I discovered open water swimming. And I moved from San Francisco to London in 2012, where I discovered the swimming club that would change everything, the Serpentine Swimming Club.
And were you a member of one of the famous San Francisco clubs?
Sadly not, because I was still wearing a wetsuit at the time and I felt too ashamed.
And it doesn't sound like you were a competitive swimmer as a child, 6 a.m. in the pool and galas and all these things.
No, no, I mean, if snorkeling was an Olympic discipline, I would probably get gold. But no, definitely not. I was mostly a breaststroke swimmer, heads up breaststroke swimmer for much of my childhood and adult life. I never learned how to formally swim front crawl or any of the strokes because, as it happens, I was excluded from physical education for medical reasons as a teen. So I missed all of that. So when I discovered open water swimming, I was still very much, the granny style heads up breaststroker.
So tell us about your first maybe year in the Serpentine. Did you start out in your wetsuit in the summer and not go in the winter, or what was your journey like?
Well, I knew that most serpentine swimmers swam without a wetsuit, so I knew not to go with a wetsuit. Also, I was told there was no drainage in the changing room by then Secretary Brian Thomas, so I assumed it would be not such a great idea. I simply didn't go in the winter. It was way too cold. It took me 2 years to swim through the winter. It was a very steep learning curve.
And were your swims in the Serpentine, were they 1 kilometer? Were they 5 kilometers? What was your swimming progression like?
Oh no, you are so ambitious. No, they weren't anywhere near that long. They were very short swims. I was not doing long swims at all. The longest I'd done was Alcatraz in San Francisco. And I'd done that 3 times. To give you a measure of the type of swimmer I was, my first 25 yards took me 2.5 minutes. Yeah. Uh, so there was room for improvement, and I did improve, but it took a while.
So how did you all of a sudden decide you were going to be a marathon swimmer? Did you have some mentors? Did you have some heroes? Did you have role models? Were you looking at people and saying, all the beautiful people are doing marathons?
Oh, well, actually, it started in San Francisco. I heard about a woman called Kimberly Chambers. She swam regularly in the bay, and I read in the newspaper that she had moved to Tahoe because she was training to swim the length of Tahoe. And there was a picture of her with snow on the ground, which I thought was completely crazy, but also very inspiring in a way. That was in 2011 when I was still swimming in a wetsuit. The other person who I really found inspiring was Gary Emish, the man who swam the most Alcatraz swims ever, because I knew that he swam from Alcatraz to San Francisco almost every week. And I only did it 3 times over 3 years, and that was exhausting enough. So definitely, these two really, yeah, made me aware of, swimming in open water, I guess. But it's only when I really joined the Serpentine Swimming Club that I discovered people such as Nick Adams, his wife Sakra, um, Rosie George, who's a lovely lady and a big marathon swimmer. And I discovered these people who had done completely amazing swims. And every year there was somebody in the summer coming back from their English Channel swim mentioned in the Saturday morning speech. And they look like regular people. I mean, more boyfriend, obviously trained. But I thought, wow, this is really cool. Uh, it took me 2 years to complete my first English Channel relay. It was organized by Nick and Sakra Adams in 2014. It was the first time ever that I swam skins. And that was, yeah, 9 years before my English Channel solo. So it was very progressive. I dipped my toe, but baby steps.
But just for folks' information, Kimberly um, and Nick Adams and Rosemary are all honorees in the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. Gary Emmett certainly was one of the most influential Alcatraz swimmers. Technically, he tied with his colleague for the first to get to 1,000 Alcatrazes. He's now in third place. I've stayed with Gary many times in San Francisco, so I say it with love. Gary, you're falling behind. You need to improve. Um, so when you did the relay, had you already decided you were going to do a solo?
Oh, no, I thought that was the pinnacle of my swimming career. I thought, wow, I'm doing a channel relay. That was the most I could do. I don't deal well with cold water, um, though I love cold water, but I just cannot stay very long in it. So I thought, wow, the qualifier for the relay is cold enough, long enough. I don't need to do more. And to be fair, I always thought of English channel like soloists as another category of people, uh, unachievable, something so out of my reach that it did not even occur to me.
Talk to us about the community you found at the Serpentine.
So the Serpentine, and I didn't know it at the time, holds a very special place in the world of marathon swimming. So I've discovered since then that with 86 successful English Channel solo swimmers since 1957, many more relay swimmers. Then we have club members who are present and past officers of the Channel Swimming and Piloting Federation. The club represents an incredible pool of knowledge and expertise and motivation for anybody wanting to dip their toes in marathon swimming. And every Saturday morning, we organize races. And I always tell people that if you have a big swimming project, and if they show up to the Saturday morning race, they will find at least a couple channel swimmers around who are willing to help and, share their experience on that day. So, given the strong connection of the club with marathon swimming, we do focus a lot on, I don't know, I guess qualities that are representative of the community, such as endurance, safety, knowledge sharing, honestly, honesty, and friendship. So it's a very tight-knit community. So as you said, we do have several individual swimming honorees of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. Jaron Forsberg, the
Yes.
first one, then Rosie George, Alison Streeter, Nick Adams, and our sole administrative honoree is Colin Hill. So we've produced, as a club, a lot of soloists and relay swimmers, but we go a step further. Since 2017, the Serpentine Swimming Club Committee has decided to support English Channel Swimming by booking 2 slots that are offered to the membership every year. And that was at the initiative of Nick Adams and Deirdre Ward, who is the captain of the club. A club subcommittee receives applications and releases the slots to club members who are wishing to swim the channel, either as solo swimmers or as captains of a relay team. And when they are allocated the slot, they then refund the club for holding deposits and take the booking as their own. That is how I swam the English Channel, with a club slot. But in addition to that, well, the club was inducted in 2022 as an honorary organization of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. So marathon swimming has become part of the fabric of the club in many, many ways. And it's still part of the committee. Not everybody does it because it would be very crowded. And we have 3,000 members. But it definitely inspires people to do things they wouldn't have done otherwise.
In the past 25 years, the sport has seen an absolute explosion of swimmers. It's seen an explosion in events around the world. And it's seen a very, very small increase in the number of volunteers. So how did you go from a new swimmer at Serpentine to getting involved? Did somebody hand you a mop one day and ask you to clean the shower room? Did you bring cookies? How did it start?
Cake, Ned. It's all about cake. I started bringing cake. Swimming and cake is a lovely combination. But cake aside, I had social media experience and I wanted to pitch in and contribute to the club activities. So I decided to take over the running of the Facebook group as an admin and the Twitter feed as well. And from very early on, I wanted to contribute to the club. I mean, I became very motivated because it was such a lovely community to be part of, and I wanted to give back. So I stood for committee positions. The committee is a group of 9 people who run the club from day to day. I ran 4 years. I was not elected on year 1, I was not elected year 2, year 3. Finally, they were probably exhausted and they voted me in as a committee member. And that happened in 2020. And a year later, I was elected as club honorary secretary. And 4 years later, as club president. So that's how I went up.
So I think of the Serpentine as an old fashioned, not only British but kind of English club located in the middle of a very international city. So you're French. Um, Over the years, has the committee been very international, or are you the exception?
Mm, well, I suppose there are people from other countries. Irish, South Africa, I guess. Yeah. Well, yeah. There are a few other people who are international, but I'm French and British as well. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say it's the norm. When I was elected president, I was the first Southern Hemisphere president, which I was very surprised about. I didn't know that. I knew I was going to be the first female president. That at least did not come as a surprise. And I was the first in 160 years. So it was a great feeling, actually. I mean, the history of women swimming at the Serpentine Swimming Club is very interesting because the club was founded, as you said, at a time where all clubs were male-only clubs, Victorian times. And no women swam in the Serpentine until the 1930s, when the Serpentine Lido was open. Now, the Lido and the club are two separate things. The club swims from 5 to 9:30 a.m. every morning, and the Lido swims from 10 to 6 in the summer. They don't swim in the winter. But they did offer changing facilities for women in the 1930s. So the big hurdle for women to swim was changing, and they could not change out in the open. It was not accepted. So it took a while. Anyhow, a few years go on, women were voted in. They could become associate members, but not full members in 73. They became full members in 1985, and then they were allowed to join races because races were only open to club members. All races except for one, the Christmas Day race for the Peter Pan Cup. And that was a bit of a tricky one because traditionally it was always won by a man. So another cup was created for women, the Wendy Cup, a smaller cup. And a lot of people thought it was unfair that women should win only the Wendy Cup and men would win the Peter Pan Cup. So the committee voted a compromise, actually the AGM voted a compromise that the first person home would win the race, but the first man would still win the Peter Pan Cup and the first woman would still win the Wendy Cup. Again, many people thought unfair, and that was rectified in 2003, I think. So then it's been 22 years now that the first person home wins the Peter Pan Cup, which is a lovely, glorious silver cup offered, sponsored by the Greenbury family. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, but we do have a tiny co-ed changing room. Now we accept all genders without any restrictions, and we are very inclusive. So we're actually really proud of what we've become.
What are the best things that the club has done since you've been president?
Well, I've only been president 5 months. But what I have done is I've been leading an effort to transform the club into an incorporated charity. Since 1864, the club had always been an incorporated association, which means a group of people who get together to swim in the Serpentine in Hyde Park. That worked fine when the club was only 50 members strong or even 200 members strong. But we have close to 3,000 members nowadays.
How many?
3,000.
3,000. Wow.
Yeah, 3 zeros. So it has become increasingly difficult to navigate the open water swimming landscape, especially in the City of London, without a legal personality. I mean, without an incorporated status, the club cannot enter into legal agreements or even protect its intellectual property. But by becoming a charity, we could enjoy tax breaks, receive donations, and also sign a much better license agreement with the rural parks who are our landlords. So it made common sense and financial sense in every term without changing the swimming experience. So that's an initiative that I started in March. It was voted by the membership in June, and I hope to conclude it as quickly as possible so that we can sign this amazing new license with the rural parks.
And how long will your term as president be?
3 years.
And what else do you have? What else do you hope the committee and the club will accomplish in the next 2.5 years?
Actually, nothing much, because we love staying the same. We love that we are still the only club in England that swims without any lifeguards throughout the year, which means that in the winter we swim in the dark, which in many places would not even be thinkable. We each have our individual personality. We have quite strong personalities in the club. And we love that people join the community because it is a community, not just a swimming venue. I mean, we're not a pool. We are not just, an open water swimming place where people go in and out without saying hello, goodbye. We greet each other by name, believe it or not, even though we have 3,000 members. So it's very special.
That's interesting. how difficult is it to allocate the two slots? Are there 20 swimmers coming forward and the committee has to act like God to decide who it is? Or is it all really easy?
Actually, I'm not privy to the conversations, so I cannot tell you. But yeah, I mean, every year it depends on how many people apply for the slots. It can be, I suppose, it's usually more than two, but some years it has been less than two. Not everybody wants to swim the English Channel. Um, but, it just depends. I have no idea, to be honest.
Okay. Because sometimes the when a committee makes a selection, it's always difficult and it can lead to hard feelings. Certainly, I know in my very early days in the sport, I was on the Manhattan Island Swimming Committee, and back then there was one swim a year,
Mm.
and we decided who the 20 to 30 swimmers around the world got to swim around Manhattan, and there was a lot of applications, and it felt very strange to be God in that position of the committee making the decision, this person, not this person. And it's always difficult. Laura, any final thoughts? Are you open for more members when people move to London or want to get into open water swimming, or are you reaching a maximum?
Um, we haven't reached the maximum. Um, but it is a challenge. I mean, open water swimming has become very popular. It has become popular since the pandemic. So a lot of people want to join the club, but I will say a lot of them simply want an open water swimming venue. For instance, if they want open water swimming experience before a triathlon, in that case, well, the Lido is definitely the best option for them. But if they want to join a community, stick with it and contribute, then we welcome a lot of members with open arms. Every year we welcome between 600 and 800 new members. So it's a lot of new members. We open new memberships in February every year. We do not want to do it in January when people have taken January, New Year's resolutions that may be maybe dangerous or risky. We want our members to be very responsible because we swim without lifeguards. It's actually very important, the safety aspect for us. We need to make sure that everybody who joins knows their limits or learns their limits and does not jeopardize the future of the club, basically. But no, we do welcome new members, and I mean, I was a new member once. Everybody was a new member once. I think we should definitely not preclude others from enjoying the same experience because it is a great experience.
I know of one swimming club for young swimmers that's very popular, and they have changed the way they do things. And they've said to the parents, "We are not a creche. You don't just drop off your child and we amuse them for 2 hours and you come and pick them up. That's not what we do." So these days, if you want your child to swim in the club, as an adult, you have to sign up for sessions. So they want adults on the pool deck. They want adults keeping the kids safe in the locker room. And they want adults doing the transport to the swimming galas. And if the parents are not willing to do that, the child's not allowed in the club. They have reported one very interesting change. In the old days, the parents were forever complaining that little Johnny was not selected for the relay, or little Johnny was not one of the top three swimmers in the event, was not selected. And they said, now when the parents are watching the training, the parents are in the car with little Johnny saying, you know something, I'm going here, 3 mornings a month, and all you're doing is talking. You're in lane 6 because you deserve to be in lane 6. The people in lane 1, 2, and 3, they're working hard. You're not working hard. You don't deserve to be on the relay. Don't tell me this anymore. And it's been very interesting that when the parents got involved, they saw more. So as somebody who's involved with an open water club, we're forever asking people to volunteer.
Hmm.
And I wonder how soon it will be before volunteering becomes mandatory for some of these clubs.
Well, hopefully not anytime soon, because I've actually counted how many volunteers we need to run the club every year, and it's roughly between 100 and 150.
Wow.
And we do have these numbers because people are really willing to contribute to the club. I mean, it's not mandatory. We really appreciate if people want to volunteer and we recognize their effort, we value them. Uh, but I mean, the committee and the officers is a very small group of people. They can only do so much. That's why we rely on a lot of subcommittees and then, volunteers who are not part of any committees, but who want to pitch in anyway. So it does take a lot of volunteers to run the club the way we do, but it's one of the reasons we also are very cheap and affordable. Without that, a lot of people could not afford to swim open water in the center of London. So we don't want to price out members. And that to us is very important.
Well, Laura, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for contributing to the continuing success of the Serpentine. And we'll see each other somewhere on a beach, on a safety boat, or even in the water in the coming years.
Thank you, Ned. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.